Good morning and welcome to ROCstars. I am Dave Mammano. I am the founder of the Avanti Entrepreneur Network, and I have a great co-host, Sandy Waters.
From Spazzino and Sandy on 98.9 The Buzz. And I also host the 7 Figures podcast, Smart Money Strategies for Women.
Women?
Well, okay.
I listen to it.
Guys,
men, do you listen to it? Come on, I think it's a great show.
Well, women, I feel like we talk about money differently. And when guys are in the room, it's weird. Studies show that women aren't as engaged.
Well,
so
you're teaching an entrepreneurial lesson right now. Do you know that?
Am I?
Because you're focusing on women, which is a niche. Most great businesses have a very defined niche, right? And there's a great saying about being a successful business that there are riches in niches. So you are doing that as a strategy.
Love it.
So you are an entrepreneur, Sandy.
Riches in the niches.
Riches in the niches.
There's your first tip for you.
So it's a great business lesson. And that's what we do here on ROCstars every week is we bring you great entrepreneurial superstars here in Rochester. And it's our job to dig the nuggets out of their brain so that our audience, you guys, can learn and grow. If you're thinking about starting a business or if you have a business and you want to get pushed outside your comfort zone to move to that next level, that's what we're here for.
That is what I've noticed with a lot of our guests. And you can go back and look at some previous guests on our social media platforms on Facebook and YouTube and stuff.
All the episodes right there on our Facebook page.
Absolutely. But the common theme I'm noticing, and today's guest will probably talk about this too, what you said, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone.
Yes. So our guest is Erin Newman, who's a rock star here in Rochester, has his 4th company called Checkr. And he's starting a 5th company. And it's a great example of someone who pushes himself out of his comfort zone.
But you love living out of your comfort zone, don't you?
I don't even have a comfort zone.
You don't?
I'm always it's my drug of choice, I guess, right?
Were you always like that though?
I always was. I always wanted to do something that I had no business doing. So I had no athletic talent whatsoever in high school.
Okay.
I tried out.
I couldn't tell, could you?
I know. An Italian guy not being able to play basketball. Imagine that. I tried out for the basketball team 7th through 12th grade. Never made it once, but I kept on trying, right? I tried out. I had no dancing ability, singing ability. I tried out for the senior play.
My gosh, you had no right doing
Guys and Dolls, right? You know Guys and Dolls?
Yeah.
As a joke with my buddy, we tried out after school.
Okay, wait a minute. Your buddy was doing it as a joke. There was a piece of you that thought you were going to get the part, right?
Well, that's why I did. I got a lead.
Did you really?
So you never know. You
Are you for real?
I became Lieutenant Brannigan, one of the leads in the play, the Guys and Dolls.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it was just you and your buddy trying out?
He didn't. Oh, no, there was. That's funny. I just got that. See, she's funny.
See, now, conversely.
That's a good one.
Conversely, I would always, and I'm just starting to now, I think it was the age I turned 40. You're
40? Come on.
Ooh, I can't believe I said that out loud. I started to push myself out of my comfort zone because before I would not even attempt to do anything unless I knew I was going to achieve perfection.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So, you don't take risks when you're a perfectionist.
I think that's why we're such a great team because it's a yin and yang, as they say. Because for me, there's ready, aim, fire.
Yeah.
And then a lot of entrepreneurs are ready, fire, aim. I am fire, fire, fire.
You are. You are.
But that's why we're here, right? That's why we have the show, et cetera. So the show that coming up, Erin Newman, we're really going to learn about his adventure, his getting out of comfort, starting his 5th company now, climbing Mount Everest recently.
Which is
so we're going to hear a lot more when we get back on ROCstars TV. Join us today on ROCstars to learn how local entrepreneur Erin Newman has created 5 successful businesses based on predicting trends, and one of them recently receiving an investment of $50 million. We'll also discuss his adventures of traversing the globe as a mountain climber and lessons learned from his recent trip to Mount Everest. Erin is a great example of someone building a world-class business right here in good old Rochester, New York. ROCstar's is brought to you in part by Paychex. Paychex has solutions to fit the needs of any size business. From do-it-yourself payroll to human capital management, Paychex has exactly what you need to take your business where it needs to go. You can get a free month of payroll by visiting the partner page at AvantiEntrepreneur.com. You know, Paychex, they make it simple for businesses of all sizes to pay and manage their team. They make payroll easy with employee pay options, including direct deposit, checks, pay cards, and so much more. Founded over 4 decades ago to relieve the complexity of running a business so that the owners can focus on what matters most. Above all else, and more than any other company, Paychex makes it simple. The Avanti Entrepreneur Network, #1 in Rochester for entrepreneurs who want to move their business forward. Visit AvantiEntrepreneur.com to learn more about their coaching services, online programs, and a 3-day Avanti Live Summit, October 16th through the 18th. You'll grow, learn, and connect with hundreds of successful entrepreneurs and incredible keynote speakers such as Ellen Latham, founder of Orange Theory Fitness. Move forward with the Avanti Entrepreneur Network at AvantiEntrepreneur.com. Welcome to ROCstars TV. We are so excited to have you on this Sunday morning. Obviously here with Sandy Waters, my great co-host. We have an excellent guest today as we're talking about Erin Newman from Checkr and from the Army and from climbing Mount Everest and from 4 other companies. I call him my G.I. Joe friend. Welcome to the show. Appreciate you being here, Erin.
Now, you do have a lengthy resume. So this is Checkr is your 5th company. Do you own all the companies still, or is this just your baby at the time?
No, I like to call a serial entrepreneur. So you're doing one at a time. You build it, and you either sell it or let it go out on its own, or So I very much have done. This is Checkr is my 4th one, and I have a new one I'm working on as well. So
is it hard for you to grow these companies and then sell it off to someone else and hope they take good care of it?
I like to think about it as a child, right? As a kid, right? When you first start a company, you have to do everything for it. You have to take care of it. And so you're very involved. But for me, it's all about, when it gets to a certain age, it's time for it to grow on its own. It's time for it to be independent. You should not be, I like to talk about how I should be able to get hit by a bus and nobody should notice at Checkr, right?
Oh, that sounds kind of depressing.
Right? Yeah. But it should survive.
You signed a check, so they miss you a little bit.
Right. It's not it doesn't help people if it's all dependent on me. So for me, it's all about building a team and establishing something that can survive and thrive on its own. I like to think about Checkr as kind of entering that I'm leaving college phase, where it's like, okay, it's time for you to start taking care of yourself. So,
forgive me, but and I hope somebody out there doesn't really understand it either. What is Checkr? Can you clarify?
So Checkr, we build software. So we're based out of Rochester here. We're about 150 people. We've been around for 8 years. We build software that helps you manage the cloud. Right? The cloud means a lot of things, but think about it this way. We'll use an analogy of Paychex. Paychex, historically, they build a data center, right? So they build a giant building, a warehouse, and they put lots of servers in there and they manage it themselves. It's a bad idea. It's a very inefficient way to do things. So the new strategy is you use the cloud, which is rather than buy servers and manage them yourself, you're renting them from an Amazon Web Services, which is one of Amazon's business, or Microsoft has a business called Azure, or Google has a business, so these are the big cloud players. It's infrastructure as a service, where these players, where Paychex doesn't build their own data centers anymore. They now use the computing power. And think about it, in the 1850s, if you had a factory, you'd build a power plant, right? It's a very inefficient way to do it. Eventually, they said, why don't we have power stations? Why don't we have RG&E? Why don't we have companies like that provide power? We're going through that same thing with compute power. Big providers are getting economies of scale. So we write the software that actually, as you transition out of data centers into the cloud, you can manage it, right? So a big company, if you have 10 servers in the cloud, very easy to manage, right? If you have 10,000 servers in the cloud, you have no idea what's going on anymore.
So you're kind of that third party that make sure they're doing it the right way. Security, et cetera. You're kind of their friend in the cloud, helping them with everything.
Exactly. Although we build the software, so we don't do services, so we're not helping them. We're providing the software platform that they use or that a services company might use. Like Justin Copey, his company uses our tool, uses our software platform to manage what they have in the cloud.
Excellent. Yeah,
Right
thanks
there, see? Did you get clarification? Right
there you go. And he brought up our past guest, right? So thank you for that.
It is kind of hard to wrap your mind around it, though, for some of us.
It certainly is complicated. You're right.
And that's why we need you then. We need software developers
So listen, Erin, we got to take a quick break. But when we get back, you're on your 5th company now, right? Cloud Checkr is your 4th. You're starting your 5th. And I've seen you speak before. And one of the things I've noticed is that you've been very good at predicting trends a little bit in advance and then starting a business around that. So we're going to talk about that when we get back with ROCstars. ROCstars is supported by Hazleton Auto Mall. Hazleton Auto Mall has been proudly serving the Rochester, New York area since 1920, conveniently located on the corner of Fairport and Marsh Roads in East Rochester. Shop 17 acres of new and pre-owned vehicles, all in one location. Shop 2,000 new and used vehicles, including 6 out of the top 10 best-selling new vehicles in the greater Rochester area. Hazleton Auto Mall, a 4th-generation, family-owned company in business for nearly 100 years, only 15 minutes from the city of Rochester and just off I-490. The Avanti Entrepreneur Network, #1 in Rochester for entrepreneurs who want to move their business forward. Visit AvantiEntrepreneur.com to learn more about their coaching services, online programs, and a 3-day Avanti Live Summit October 16th through the 18th. You'll grow, learn, and connect with hundreds of successful entrepreneurs and incredible keynote speakers such as Ellen Latham, founder of Orange Theory Fitness. Move forward with the Avanti Entrepreneur Network at AvantiEntrepreneur.com. ROCstars is supported by the Avanti Entrepreneur Network, #1 in Rochester for entrepreneurs who want to move their business forward. Visit AvantiEntrepreneur.com to learn more about their coaching services, online programs, and a 3-day Avanti Live Summit October 16th through the 18th. You'll grow, learn, and connect with hundreds of successful entrepreneurs and incredible keynote speakers such as Ellen Latham, founder of Orange Theory Fitness. Move forward with the Avanti Entrepreneur Network at AvantiEntrepreneur.com. Welcome back to ROCstars TV. So happy to have you here on this Sunday morning, waking you up here with Erin Newman from Cloud Checkr. And Erin, we talked about the fact that you have started 4 successful companies, starting your 5th, very good at predicting trends and starting businesses around those. Can you tell us a little bit about, is that a 6th sense? How do you do that?
Well, I'll go through kind of my history. In 2000, I started a company around computer security when it was just brand new. And then, it got mainstream. And for me, once it gets mainstream, it's not as exciting anymore. Mm-hmm. So then in 2006, started a company around social media. And that's when everybody was looking at social media like, who cares about social media? It's old ladies blogging about their cats, right? And, my idea was, hey, this has got to be useful for businesses, right? And now who doesn't have a Facebook page? Who doesn't have a social media presence? So, and then in 2011, it was, let's look at, right, this idea of everything's going to move into the cloud. And again, even locally, I talk to people and they're like, well, we're never going to trust the cloud. And I was like, I'm going to call that.
Because we hear all these horror stories, sure.
Right.
Sure.
But it's really just to be able to look through it and say, where is this really going to evolve to? So, and that's probably, I just think it's a very natural thing when you look at practically. It doesn't take any super intelligence. It's just looking and saying, well, this makes sense. It's got to work out. And the next thing is this idea of this blockchain. Right? I mean, blockchain is a brand new technology, and there's a lot of things going on around it. People talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin certainly is where blockchain started. Cryptocurrency is a big part of it, but there's much more to it. There's how do I use blockchain in enterprises for doing transparency, for sharing data between people, for doing secure transactions. So there's a lot more beyond just cryptocurrency that blockchain's involved. So my latest startup is it's BlockWatch. Which is all about how do I monitor and manage what's happening on these enterprise blockchains or public blockchains as well. Everything from smart contracts, cryptocurrencies, but more importantly is enterprise applications of blockchain.
And I was going to say, a lot of this is unfamiliar territory. So a lot of people are very cautious, or it's hard to really understand it, where you see it as a challenge and you want to master it.
Right.
Which is kind of like what you do in your, personal life when you're climbing Mount Everest and doing all these amazing things.
Right. What's calculated risk, right? I mean, I don't do anything that's truly risky. It's just you have to calculate and figure out, how am I going to do this safely? And it may look risky, but I'm as risk averse as everybody else, right?
Except you climb Mount Everest, right?
But even Mount Everest, if you do it safely and you do it and you're smart about it.
I followed you on Facebook with that, and I was feeling some of your pain, though. That was no easy task, right?
Right. I mean, for me, so I do have these other hobbies, right? So something I do, and because I like to challenge myself, right? So, I think maybe about 8 or 9 years ago, you kind of in your midlife and you're like, what do I do now I'm never going to be the fastest runner. I'm never going to win a marathon or be in the Olympics or anything like that. What can I do that still challenges myself physically and also kind of hones me for, mentally as well? And, mountain climbing was a very compelling sport where you don't have to be a super athlete. You have to be smart. You have to be able to you have to have endurance and be able to tolerate these environments, and that. So I started doing the 7 summits, which is the tallest summit in each of the 7 continents, right? And some of them are easier, like Australia. Kosciuszko is like a peak in the Adirondack, but then there's one in Antarctica and Africa, and I've been through all of them. And this year was Everest, and I said, let me see if I can go do it. And I spent a month in Everest. I like to talk about failure too, right? Things don't come easy for everybody. Maybe for some people they do. Things certainly don't come easy for me. It's all about, let's go give it a try. I believe if you're not failing, you're not pushing yourself hard enough. But, if you fail at it once, go back, right? So that's an important piece of it. And the same thing with a startup. If you build a product, it's not the right product, that's not a failure. You failed. But you failed quickly. You learned what you're going to do, and you go back and you redo it. So I'm very proud of it. Got above the ice field, got up to 21,000 feet. It was an incredible trip, awesome adventure. But I ran out of gas. I learned, I need to take more Diamox, which is a drug that helps you acclimatize. I need to do this. I have 2 pages of notes on this is what you screwed up, Erin. Next time you go back, don't screw those things up.
And there's going to be a next time because you're going to keep.
Well, it's only been 2 weeks. So
okay. Yeah. But in your mind, you're thinking, okay, so don't take this failure and have it crush you. Move forward with it, which is going to lead us into your words of inspiration, because there's a lot of people watching right now that are aspiring entrepreneurs' advice. So if you could give us some.
We'll be right back with Erin Newman on ROCstars.
ROCstars is supported by Alliance Advisory Group. Whatever vision you have for your business and financial future, it takes the right planning to make it happen. Over the course of many years of helping business owners, Alliance has learned firsthand what works and what doesn't work. They offer a proven process that provides the framework to uncover opportunities, maximize results, and put you on a solid path to achieving what is important to you. Call Alliance today to learn more about getting a customized plan at 585-264-1111.
Well, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. This is ROCstars, and we are with our guest, Erin Newman, who David says that you are the poster boy,
in my opinion,
of entrepreneurship.
I don't disagree with him.
He loves that. He loves that.
So
there's a little modesty going on.
I know, and you have been super successful, without a doubt. So for those watching who are aspiring entrepreneurs, advice, words of wisdom.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of failure involved in it, right? From the outside, it looks, it may look like all success, but, internally there's just failure after failure after failure. And a lot of success is just enduring through those failures, right? So
endurance.
Yes, endurance.
Good word for you, right?
One of my personal heroes is a guy, Ernest Shackleton, one of the Antarctic explorers. And, they went. He just barely missed being the first person to the South Pole, and then they were going to do a traverse of the Antarctica, and they got stuck in Antarctica, right? Their boat got crushed by ice. It got stuck in ice. And so he had like 50 men, and they were stuck in Antarctica for 400 days. And they
Talk
were
about endurance.
penguins and, whatever. And he did not lose a single person, right? So 400 days. He eventually rode out 400, 600, 800 miles to Elephant Island, something like that. So that is a real case of endurance. So whenever I'm feeling down or like this is too much, I'm like, well, at least I'm not stuck for 400 days in Antarctica. And
Eating seals, right? Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's a real look at the human spirit and what you really can do. And for me, I have a tattoo here, Fortitudine Vincimus, which is his family motto, through endurance we conquer. So for me, that's not only when you're climbing a mountain, but also in a startup or whatever you're doing in life. That's what it's about. If you keep going, if you can fail. You could fail lots. If you keep going, you eventually can get to success. So that's what it's about.
The book about Ernest Shackleton is called Endurance, which I think that's why I connected with you when I first met you, because that's like my favorite book.
Right.
Now, it's a heavy read, I have to admit. I read it once. I've listened to it on audio about 4 times, a little bit easier on that. But you're right. If I'm ever feeling down, like I can't get through the day, the week, the month with my business,
right.
I listen to that story and I'm like, oh my God, I think I can do it now.
Right.
So it really is all the mindset then, right? You have to psych yourself up where I can keep going.
Right. And you have to fail fast, learn from it, right? If you're just failing and not learning, you're not going to succeed either. But, you got to fail fast. You got to learn. You got to put yourself in the right place. And there's a little bit of luck involved too. A lot of where my luck has been, I've been very fortunate to be in the right place. Everything from being in the U.S., which is, the greatest country in the world, to being a tech person, being this, being that, all the things have to come together, but you also have to really work hard and stick to it.
I've heard a quote the other day that entrepreneurs on average fail more times than most people try. And I thought that was such a great quote because we feel like we get down, right? Oh, it didn't work out to what I thought it was going to. But I think the true test of an entrepreneur is like, that's okay. We're going to keep on marching forward, moving forward. We're going to try again. We're going to tweak. We're going to endure until we get it right. A friend of mine a couple of years ago, that FAIL actually stands for first attempt in learning. I go, I like that. Now I've had a lot, right? I'm probably at my 100th attempt in learning, like this year, right? But that's part of the roller coaster ride of being an entrepreneur. So, well, Erin, this has been super fantastic. Would you agree?
Absolutely. There's so much more we want to know from you.
Yeah, I know. And we'll have a part 2.
Yeah, maybe we should.
Yeah. We'll have the audience endure Erin even more.
Fail again.
So thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Wish you continued success with business number 5 and et cetera.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching ROCstars. Really appreciate you. We're on every Sunday morning, 7:30 a.m., Channel 13 ABC. Appreciate you. Have a great day and stay awesome.